Okay. I think I did this right.
It
Find
says
out.
we're live.
I think we are live.
And
Okay, so
I see
hey,
10
welcome
seconds in.
to Panakal Podcast for Geeks, the show about good friends hanging out, talking about things we all love. Y'all know my guest, my co-host Andrew Sides. Our guest today is Steven Belledin. And before we move forward, I'm gonna let everybody who's watching know this is a live episode. We haven't done a live episode in, I'd say, over a year because there's always some kind of weird hiccup with live.
I was gonna
And
say I was trying to remember with my wife. Like I feel like did we stop doing live like
we
around
we
the
stopped after the
pandemic or whatever?
Miriam.
Or
Well, it was after the pandemic, but the episode with Miriam where we were like down for like
yeah.
45 minutes, and then we were just like, we can't do this. Andrew's video just got really
Gee,
bad.
oh no. Yeah. Oh
It
God.
looks fine. Man, nope, you are frozen.
All right, hold on.
I can still hear you though.
Okay, yeah, just keep going then, and
We're just gonna keep going.
yeah.
And as you can see, we're using StreamYard, which is pretty new to us. So if one of us drops like we just did, or if you don't hear audio, or if one of us turns blue, just let me know in the chat because I have no idea how to use this software. I had to update the link a minute ago because I assumed the software was linking up with our YouTube channel because that's what it says it does, but it creates its own link. I didn't know this until about 10 minutes before we went live. So kudos to me.
Okay.
Welcome to the show, Steven.
Yeah.
Thanks for having
So
me.
we're going to start by talking about you actually.
Oh boy.
No pressure. So Steven does work for Magic, obviously. But I was going to say, like, so we did kind of start off with the question, which we normally start off with, which was, how do we become friends? And I don't remember where I met you. I probably met you at a Magic Con or like one of the bigger conventions at some point. Yeah. And we became friends. And then you and I would talk once in a while online for sure.
Yeah.
And then at MagicCon Chicago, by the way, Steven, I give Steven credit. Steven, do you want me to call you Steve?
I don't care.
Okay. I give him credit because I really do feel like at MagicCon Chicago, the first year I was here in Chicago, Steven gave me a badge. I was able to get my foot in the door with a bunch of art directors who ended up hiring me. And now I work for Magic too. So thanks for that. But I remember when you messaged me, I was like, man, I haven't talked to this guy in a long time. Like, I'm not very good at keeping in touch these days, unfortunately.
I was kind of off the grid for a while too. Like I posted on Facebook or whatever, but I stopped like leaving the house for a long time, even before COVID. So it's only in the last couple of years that I actually decided, it'd be a good idea to actually like see people and see outside the walls. And
yeah. I was surprised to see you at LuxCon. I didn't realize you were showing up to that, and I was like, hey.
I kept that kind of quiet, mostly because there are collectors that would have shown up with cards, and I didn't really want to sign anything. I just wanted to go and hang out with people, and so I was real quiet about it. Yeah, fortunately it worked. I didn't sign a single thing while I was there. So
I mean, I was like, when I first saw you walking around, you were like, you already had some people around you. So I'm like, I'll catch up with him eventually. Yeah. And then that's smart actually, because I've worked your booth twice now for 2 Magic Cons, and it's like Steven's one of those booths that's like nonstop. Like people just it's like
really?
It's Chris Ron was across from us this year, and between the both of you guys, it's like you guys never get to go and even on breaks. Like Steven doesn't even take breaks. I had to like make him like walk away. I'm like, dude, go get some water, go to the bathroom. I don't know how you do it because I would pass out if I didn't take a break somewhere in there.
I get close to that point by the end of the day, but then they usher everybody out at 7 p.m. and I kind of get to collect myself. And
I mean, I liked when we at MagicCon Atlanta how they had the walls that came out, kind of like you guys get out of this section, like you've been here too long. But I wanted to ask you some questions about like how you started. Like,
sure.
I was looking on your website, and you've got a very quirky about me section, but like I like it, and it's perfect. It's exactly you, you
Yeah.
know. Even the post you posted to share the link to this, So, like did you always, I guess, did you always start out as an artist, or because some artists in this industry start out something different? Like
Yeah,
myself.
I mean, I did. I knew I'm one of those rare kids. I'm not a kid. I'm one of those rare people that is doing exactly what they wanted to do when they were like 14. Uh,
Mhm.
like I knew I wanted to be an illustrator like fairly young. And my parents, despite not having any art background, they insanely supported me throughout it. And I ended up going to school at Pratt Institute in Brooklyn and went for illustration, got out of school, and then tried to do illustration. And it took a couple of years to gain traction. And I don't think that's an uncommon thing. Like people, I feel like it's fairly rare that like people hit the, like race out of the gate
Right.
come, the May of their senior year. I feel like it's fairly rare. Like, I feel like they're like, generally people get out of college and they're sort of like 75% formed at most, and it takes a couple of years for it to sort of congeal. And that was part of it for me. And the other part of it was, the market was changing very quickly when I got out of school. Editorial jobs started to decline in number and in
Mhm.
viability. And, I very much thought I was going to be like a editorial and book illustrator. That's what I trained to do, like VisCom, like solving visual, like communication and like visual problems.
Yeah.
And yeah, it didn't work out for me. I mean, not for lack of trying. I mean, I did.
Yeah, sure.
I pounded the pavement for years. But eventually the bills have to be paid. And I started doing weird jobs here and there. And I ended up in public relations of all things. I
Oh.
worked for 2 different PR companies over the years. And then in April of 2001, I got laid off. And I kind of, did the math, and I realized like, okay, I can, like, I had started to do a little bit of game illustration, at that point, like, I was 6 months into doing this. And I realized like, okay, well, I have enough money saved up that I could probably like pay for 6 months.
That's the
Actually,
plan.
and it's just sort of like make money, then that gets extended further and further and further. And it just worked out for me. I mean, I was very, very lucky. Like I, managed to get work fairly.
I mean, you got some good cards.
Well, I mean, magic happened, I don't know, 5 or so years into my career, my full-time career. I started out doing stuff for like AEG, Alderac Entertainment Group. Like they had a game called Warlord, I think it was. And then they also at the time had the Legend of the Five Rings license. And I kind of like used the opportunities to, I tried to make those pieces sing, even though they paid, I think at the time like $175 a pop or something like that.
That's low.
Yeah,
that's like Fantasy Flight rates.
That's
but I mean,
that's $25 over their rate, I think.
Yeah.
It's like 25 years ago too. So
yeah, sure.
Buying
That's
power
money
was
back then.
higher, but it still was not a good rate.
Right.
And I just used those pieces to sort of get work elsewhere. And, and before I knew it, I was making $250 work per card on Warhammer stuff. And then, then I was doing Dungeons and Dragons interiors. And it was basically just putting my all into these pieces, even though they didn't pay particularly well, in order to essentially create new portfolio pieces for the next plan. And that just sort of, I just sort of climbed the ladder until, you know, I got to where I'm at now. And, you know, along the way, there's been some odd things here and there, an album cover here, a book cover there, some book interiors and stuff. But, you know, primarily my clients have all been, they've been primarily, not all, but in the gaming, you know, space. And, yeah, it's been kind of a wild ride because it's not what I set out to do, but it's
Right.
the career that found me. You know, like I knew I wanted to paint for a living. I knew I wanted to make pictures and that kind of stuff. But like I thought, like, oh, I'm going to be like a, you know, book and editorial guy with
Books,
my
yeah.
mascot, and you know, and like do really cool stuff, and eventually be like in the New Yorker or whatever. And
That would be cool.
I know
mean, I don't know if it'd be cool now.
yeah, I know people who are in the New Yorker and stuff like that. And it's really cool. It didn't happen for me. And
Sure.
I followed the money. And for me, this is where I ended up. And man, it's a wild ride because it's so different and kind of wonderful. You know, yeah, you know, it's a surprisingly awesome, you know, thing that I get to do what I do for a living, and people give a hoot about it. And that's, I mean,
Yeah, I know that feeling because,
yeah,
you know, I did corporate work for almost 20 years.
Yeah.
Andrew's same, right? Like
No, I'm still in corporate.
You're next. You're next to jump ship. Well, I mean, I did UI UX development for over. I just remember when the day they let me go, and they were like, "Well, here's your like 13 and a half years, almost 14 years worth of severance," and I was like, "I've been here for almost 14 years." Like, I had lost track of how long I'd been at it. Like, it just became the thing I did it day in and day out, right? Like, when you get a steady paycheck every week, you're just not too stressed about. You're just like, I'm just gonna work. I get paid. I get to go hang out with my friends, buy all the cool shit I want. Rest is whatever. And I had this like at that I started like doing art, you know, my way with my style, which is now evolved way since 2014. But you know, for 2 years straight, I was like kind of messing around, doing some stuff, doing some like Comic Cons, but I was never really like, I think this is what I want to do. I was still content being a UI UX developer because it paid really well. But that's because in my head I was like, money's good, you know. But I remember when I started kind of introducing the Ancient One stuff and how people were like very excited, then I was getting excited, right? Then I was like, oh, here's this thing that I love and I wanted to create. Now people are excited. And then when they let me go, I think it was around 2016, you know, my wife was the one who was just like, why don't you follow this art thing you want to do? Like your stories and your art career and all that. And I was just like, so I took that severance. Most people have heard the story so many fucking times, but I took that severance and I just did what I did. And like you were saying, it's a cool feeling that you get to make art that you want to make and that you enjoy making. My voice just cracked. And
didn't notice.
Cool. I'm sure somebody watching did. And you know, you get to like, it's that you get this at the shows, I'm sure of it, because I've been at your table enough times to see how people like are like in love with the art. Like when they come to my booth at shows like Gen Con and they're just like, I love this. There's something about this. And then like, you're just like, I never know what to say. You know, I want to be like, I'm just like, thanks. It's awesome. I'm glad. You know, I've had one person come to my booth that was like crying and I did not know how to process that. I was just like, you see something in this work that I definitely don't see, which is cool. That's the whole point of like art, you know? And at your booth, I've seen people just like wait. I mean, they wait forever, bro. And I'm just like, what's that feel like? You know, like
I don't love the fact that people are waiting for me. And it's not that I don't appreciate that they're doing it. It's more that like I'm almost embarrassed by it. You know, like I don't, you know,
I get it.
Yeah.
I don't want to waste people's time. Like, and I in my head, there is no version of meeting me that isn't anticlimactic, you know, and
pretty chill with the people, man. It's not like you're like, I've seen some artists who just don't even say hi and they just sign.
Yeah. Early on, I remember meeting a few artists that were very brusque. for lack of a better word.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not even necessarily that they're, not interested or whatever.
They're just
I think there's
tired, maybe.
It's tired, but there's also, frankly, just a lot of social anxiety and social awkwardness that runs through this industry. Like, and I've had to very much force myself out of that. Like, I've had to consciously,
people are
to engage people, and I'm still not very good at it. But,
I think you're doing okay though. Like you saw me at IX. I told you, like, I had a bunch of people after LuxCon message me privately, ask me if I was either depressed or mad at them because I was just so like chill this year. I was just kind of doing my own thing, and I just kind of sat. I didn't really like. I'm usually like I forgot if it was Andrew that said this or somebody said I'm usually like a social butterfly. Oh, Jason Peterson. Because I'm usually like talking to people and telling them what's up, telling them all the cool new stuff I'm working on. But this round, I was just kind of took it easy. And that really threw people for a loop, I guess. And I'm not depressed, to anyone watching. I'm actually doing just fine, But that social anxiety you mentioned, like I get that at shows. I always feel safer behind the table. And anytime I have to like walk into the crowd or just even go to the bathroom, I'm just like, my levels of anxiety go up. Anytime people ask me questions, I'm always like, you have that little bit of like that feeling in the back of your head, like I'm about to say the wrong thing, even though you've said the same stuff over and over. And most of those questions are just like, what did you study? What programs do you use? Stuff I've answered, but I'm still always just like, what? It's always cool though when you meet the fan who can kind of relate with that. And it's always it kind of makes me nervous when you meet the fan on the opposite side who's like a go-getter, wants to talk, doesn't want to leave the booth, and you just like, oh please, like
it's interesting. I've one of the things that is really kind of a saving grace for the issue of the lines is how players and fans entertain themselves. And so one of my favorite things it has been getting to eavesdrop on these conversations that start among strangers in my line.
Mm-hmm.
And just getting to hear like them, just the dynamics of their conversation. Sometimes it's just purely just about the game itself. And sometimes it's, they actually have, pretty awesome and deep conversations while they're waiting. And it's fascinating. Just getting to be the literal fly on the wall as I'm like frantically trying to get things signed and keep going. But like that, they've entertained me as a result of that too. So it's kind of nice. And honestly,
sorry, my desk went up on its own.
Like the lines thing still, like it'll take me a long time to get really used to it. I do feel very bad about people waiting for me.
I mean, I think that's never going to, I guess that's never going to go away. That's just you.
I was going to ask, like, what's the average wait time for your line then?
So when I did Chicago in 2024, it was the first time I'd done an event in like a decade. And it was it was probably the big, if not the biggest, one of the biggest Magic events in
a minute.
And my line got to 3.5 hours.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Yeah.
I mean, it was beyond.
It's like a Disney ride queue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was past the line they put down for him.
And it's just I was the pirate of the Caribbean.
I mean, they waited for that ride.
They did.
They waited past the line. It would stop, and then there was like a giant aisle, and then people were waiting on the other side of the aisle, and then they had security come stand there. So they could move people across. And I was just like, it's pretty impressive to watch.
So with something like that, like, are you the one that basically dictates the flow of that line, or does someone from Magic be like, all right, move along, you gotta get through here?
So I didn't really. I was ill prepared for demand. I did not know what to expect there, and I really quickly realized like I needed to put card limits on so that like I didn't get stacks of 50 things to sign and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Well, I've gotten that streamlined since, but there was a lot of it was me literally shooting myself in the foot just because I didn't anticipate people wanting to spend.
You
Right.
forgot.
Yeah, like
You forgot who you were as the problem.
Well, I've never really thought about that. Like, I didn't really think about the demand because it's been so long since I did an event, and the events were much smaller, and it didn't translate to me. Like the concept of it being so much larger, and that me being that much busier, it didn't translate at all in my brain. Like, I just didn't see it coming. So that was odd. But yeah, they've gotten a little bit shorter, mostly not just because I started doing more events, which means that people can hit me up
Spread it out
places. But I'm a lot better at keeping the line moving and that kind of thing now. But
regarding the conversations you were saying in line, when this year there was, I can't remember what the two guys were buying. I can't remember if they were buying an AP off the table or a card that he only had one card left, but they played rock, paper, scissors to see who's buying, making the purchase. And I was just like, this is not going to end well.
Oh my goodness.
Because one guy had to lose, right? And the other guy was like, fuck, and I'm just like, that was kind of fun to watch because I was just like, I don't have like.
Yeah, like the thing that again, the fans and players of Magic, like on the whole, are really like decent people, and I've only ever met like one who I'd had an issue with, honestly, in the 25 years I've been working on the game. So the fact that they could settle on rock, paper, scissors, and somebody walked away disappointed, but it wasn't an issue. There wasn't.
I mean, they still bought stuff from that guy. Still bought something. He just didn't get
attention in the end. There was no, there was no. It was good natured, and I have to say, like that's one of another thing that I really feel very fortunate about is like the community of players and fans in the game are really just decent folks, and who enjoy one another's company as much as,
I think 9 out of 10 players that I've met or hung out with, or, even at MagicCon Atlanta, were super chill. Very like, they understand, who we are and where we're coming from. And like, cause like when I do like the foil signatures or something, I had to be like, hey, you got to give me 15 minutes to do that for you. Like, I don't have them prepped, unless you took one out of the binder. But like, they were just like, yeah, no worries. And I would just write their name down and they'd come back, And one guy wouldn't leave. He just like stood there. And I'm just like, cool. I guess
that's kind of awkward. Yeah.
It was weird for everybody because we were just like, can you just step over here and I get this guy and we can keep going, but you can hang. I don't care if you stand there, But it was like luckily I had my assistant Leah with me. So Leah was able to just be like, come on over, but initially I was like, what's happening, man? I said 15 minutes, move it. I did have one interaction in Atlanta, with a guy who asked me about a specific set as if I knew about it. And I said, I don't know what you're talking about. And then he took it upon himself to go over to another artist in the show and say, hey, Alan over there said such and such. And that artist was like, what? Why would he say that? That's not a thing. And he messaged me immediately and said, hey, are you telling people this? I'm like, no. And I'm like, that is not true. And then this person apparently was walking around and be like, hey, Steven over there said this is happening. And it's like, to a degree, I understand Magic fans try to find like the little secrets of what's coming out next. But to a degree, it's also like, you're going to get us in trouble if you spread rumors about things that we have not said.
Really.
Like, yes, we know about a bunch of stuff that's coming out. That's because we're in that industry. Like, this is our job, But if you notice, when we talk to each other, we still use the code names or we don't talk about it outside of we're not going to talk about what's coming out here other than the sets we're on, right?
Yeah, I totally use the code names.
I know you don't, but I try to.
I am so bad at it. Keeping track of the code names, because the way that they used to be named, so everything used to be like in blocks of 3.
Yeah.
So they would have names that worked. It would, Mo, Larry, Curly. There would be that 1, 2, 3 punch to them all, and so I can remember those. But now that they're like one-off sets, I can never remember the names, the code names at all. And people are like, "Are you working on insert code name here?" And I'll have to like go to my email.
Yeah.
Rolodex thing to be like, okay, which one is
the email header
like,
said?
what was that?
Like, oh yes, I am working on that, because I don't think about it in those code names anymore for some reason. But
I mean, I get like the fans who figured out. So like they announced 6 sets when we were at Atlanta, right?
Yeah.
And then the fans would be like, "Oh, are you in?" Like they announced Star Trek. So all these people came over to my booth to be like, "Are you in Star Trek? Are you in Star Trek?" And I'm like, "No." Like, "Are you in it? Just not telling us?" I'm like, "Bro, if I was in it, I would tell you, because they just announced it. It's live. There's no point in me hiding that anymore." I wish I was in it. Same thing happened with Aether Drift when it came out. Everyone's like, "You got to be in this set." I was like, "No." And I like the fact that people think I should be in specific sets, but also I don't think, like, it took me, a guy working for Magic, to understand these sets have been in production for like 3 years, 4 years, and then that's how far ahead of the game everything is being cranked out. It's not just like, it feels like it's coming out every 3 months because like here's something new, but it's not. That new thing to you has been old to us for like 2 years.
Yeah.
And for the writers and game designers, it's even older, and it gestates a long.
Impressive that they can keep up with it all. Glad it's them and not me.
Right? Like I'm really happy I just paint pictures. Like that wedge of the whole thing, like that's the wedge I can handle.
Yeah.
Like, holy smokes, I don't have the brains to do anything else. It's fascinating that they can, that they can come up with new stuff, as on the regular, and that goes from like the designers for mechanics to even the concept artists are churning stuff out.
Yep.
Constantly,
yeah.
And they're idea machines. It's pretty sweet.
Like I still, like, now I'm like, dude, I had gotten out of Magic when I got into college, essentially. Yeah. And right in the middle, right when I was in the middle of art school, I was like, can't spend money on this. And then about 6 months, I would say maybe 5 months after Zach called me with my first card, I started collecting again. Well, buying it, because I was like, I need to know the new rules and the new way these cards work and all this stuff. And then it turned in, I could feel it. It's like that itch, man, where you're like, I gotta get more. And then so now I'm like back to my old, it's funny because I'm just like, oh, I'm gonna start building these decks again. And people are like, oh, dude, don't know this is happening to you. That you've already got through this. You got out of this. Like, what do you do? You know what I mean? So I'm just like, I had to curb it, to like, I've got a couple commander boxes that my friend Jake sent me that I haven't opened, and I'm only playing 3 specific ones that I made. Mainly, it's hard, bro, because I want to open them all. But it's kind of cool that Magic has been around so long that they could still pull. They can, not only can they pull old fans back in, but they can also, they're pulling new fans in, like with the Spider-Man set, for example. Yeah.
Well, it's a rare thing in that, like, in terms of card games, especially. Well, outside of all the games made from the normal 52. But like these collectible card games and stuff, they haven't been around. Most of them don't survive, like,
right.
And they've only, and Magic is sort of the granddaddy of them all, and it's been around for over 30 years at this point, which means that you're getting the kids of the first wave of players, and they're playing with parents, and we're probably not that far from the next generation starting to appear as well. And it's kind of fascinating because, outside of like board games that have been around forever, like, Monopoly or,
Catan
kind of,
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. Like those are the only analogous kind of games, because even video games, because of the generational aspect of video games, like, kids aren't necessarily playing the same video games that their parents did.
Yeah.
Whereas Magic, like, you can go through your dad's cards and find stuff that you can play with today.
Yeah, totally.
And so it's kind of,
I shouldn't play with those cards though, because they're worth money.
Yeah, well, but it's kind of I don't know, it's a phenomenon in it's hard to conceive of, because I don't know, I have this really complete lack of belief that as much time has gone by, the idea that I've been working on this game for 25 years does not seem
impressive.
It doesn't seem possible. Like, I don't feel like I've been around that long. I feel like I'm just getting started somehow,
Sure.
But the fact that the game predates me, and my work on it by another 8 years, it's just mind-blowing to me that it's been around for much of my existence. And it's not showing any real signs of like danger, and it's still bringing people in, and they're still congregating to play, and they're the amount of times I've seen people like in mall food courts or whatever playing Magic on a table and stuff. I mean, I've lost count, and it's people find times and ways to sneak in games here and there, and it's the fact that it's had the legs that it does it really is unique in a lot of ways, and I have a hard time believing any of it, like, and that I'm even a part of it is still strange to me. It doesn't feel like any of it should be in existence, let alone
like, it feels like the game itself had its like moment. It's 15 minutes and it should have gone away.
Right.
It's like
and there's other cards. There's other card games that have done that, like Netrunner.
Yeah,
it's not around any longer.
No.
Is World of Warcraft still around, or is it only available as a game, basically?
You talking about like Hearthstone?
Hearthstone is basically.
Yeah, is it just Hearthstone nowadays, or do they still have a trading card aspect?
I don't think they have the trading card.
No, they don't. It's just digital. You can't compete, right? Because
it's really like it's Magic, and I think it's the Pokemon trading card game. Or like the one, the two are the longest.
Well, they're both owned by the same company, right? Doesn't Watson? I thought WotC owned, or Hasbro owns Pokemon, don't they? Someone correct me.
I don't know.
Let's do a quick search.
I'm actually not sure.
I'm not sure that's true.
I'm looking.
I'd be curious because like the art style in those are
it's Nintendo.
So varied. Yeah, it's so varied and different that compared
Nintendo,
to like how Magic has very particular.
Nintendo, Game Freak, and Creatures. I don't know what Creatures is.
Creatures might be the people that handle the card aspect of it, because Game Freak is the developer of Pokemon, and then Nintendo is Nintendo.
Okay. Yeah, Nintendo's Nintendo. Speaking of Nintendo, did you see the images from the Legend of Zelda?
Yeah.
Dude, for a hot second, I thought it was like some weird fan art movie, and I was like, "Oh, I'm not even gonna read this article."
It is such a surreal, like, speaking of like the Magic thing, where it's like it's weird that it's been around for like 30 years. It's weird that like that's finally happening. That like it's actually a thing.
Like, remember when they made that commercial in the 80s with the live action guy?
wait, with the rapping, or
no, not the rapping. Well, that's another one. They had like a guy. he was like running through the dungeons, and every once in a while he'd be like Zelda, and he'd be like, and it
Oh,
was like,
that's the one for Link to the Past, I think.
Link to the Past, yeah.
Yeah.
And that trailer, when I saw it, I thought, oh my God, there's a movie coming out. This is gonna be amazing. And then you're like, oh, it's just a trailer. And you're like, someday. It's like that feeling of like, I remember the first time I saw the trailer for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like it was on TV. You see, I think it was Michelangelo skateboarding through the sewers in the opening to the trailer. I remember looking at my sister like, did I just see that, or did you just see what I just saw too? Because back in the 80s, those commercials only aired every X, right? They knew like when to push
Right.
them. So I didn't see that trailer again for like 4 days or something, you know? And like I had to confirm it on this old Zenith I remember we had. But I was like sitting there, my sister was like not really paying attention. She's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Whereas I was like, it looked like TMNT. And I was like, I think I was like 7 or 8, and everyone thought I was crazy. All my friends were like, no, man, you didn't see that. You're crazy. And I'm just like, cool. Show them what's up.
I completely forgot, that this is such a silly thing to forget, but you're right. I mean, the advertisements for movies and stuff weren't as they'd be you'd get the paper,
Yep.
and there'd be they'd be in there, and like you'd see the posters maybe on a bus or whatever, and at the movie theater for coming soon or whatever. But like in terms of trailers and stuff, man, you're right. Like those commercials, you maybe saw it once, twice a week.
Yeah.
It wasn't. It's kind of interesting. Like it got to live in your head in a very weird way.
Yeah, exactly.
And
Right.
I wonder if there's something to the psychology of that, actually. The fact that it was living in your head and that anticipation,
I feel like it is, because like nowadays when you get a trailer, you pretty much get the whole movie sometimes. And you're like, well, I don't need to go really see that. I just watched the whole movie here in this trailer, because people want like that instant gratification now, where some of us don't watch the whole trailer or watch any trailers because we're just like, I don't want to know.
It is crazy if you ever watch like older trailers, just how different the visual language has changed over the years. It's all very, very kinetic nowadays compared to how it was back in the day. Like even like the old Star Wars trailer for Episode 4 is, well, yeah,
it's hard, man.
It drags. It drags compared to like, you're like, wow, this is for this movie.
Yeah,
this
you're
one
like,
right here.
How did you get people into the theaters to watch this? It had to have been word of mouth. Like somebody took a chance, went and saw Star Wars, was like, this is insane, and they went and told their friends about it because the trailer sucks. Like somebody actually redid that trailer. There's a modern version of it, and my voice just cracked again. Of the original trailers, they just kind of moved some stuff around a little bit and gave it a little bit more of a symphony, and it's like, yeah, that's a good trailer,
Kind of think of it. I think like the last trailer I feel like that where that really did that for me was like the Episode 1 trailer. When they like the teaser one that was like, oh look, and then they just get, it's like quick cuts of like just all sorts of random shit, and like at the time you're like, I have no idea what any of this is. This could be so many things.
They could have put anything on the screen because people are waiting 20 years for Star Wars to come out. Like they could have literally just put Episode 1 in red, and you would have been like, see you at midnight on December 17th, or whenever. I watched all 3 of those movies at the midnight showings with my friends. I would fall asleep at a midnight showing if I went to one now.
No.
Dude, trust me, I try to watch movies at like 9 o'clock at night. I'm just like drinking a soda just to stay awake.
Glad it's not just me.
No, I can't do it.
Right there.
Because the seats, for starters, we had like the old school like seats, right? And they were like stiff, and you're like, your ass is staying awake. But now it's like these comfy couches that recline. There's no way in hell you're not falling asleep. Like, he's like, peace out, homie. See you in an hour and a half. What movie? I can't remember the last movie I saw in the theater though. Been a minute. Oh, Superman, the last Superman movie.
Oh, okay.
Which, if you haven't seen it, Steven, it's amazing.
Yeah, it's fun. It's definitely a lot of fun. It's a very interesting, take on the character, and in the world. I just kind of love that, you know, you just get dropped in the middle of it.
That's what I really loved about it. You just get, it's like opening up a comic book.
Yeah.
Right? You just get dropped right into the comic book, and the world had the perfect mix of real world and comic book world. And I was like, I like this.
That's actually kind of a really good analogy, because like, you know, it actually is. I mean, very few people get issue number 1, right? You know, like most of us, you know, the first comic book we were exposed to wasn't an issue number 1.
Correct.
Literally dropped in the middle of a storyline, you know, like, and just, okay, this is issue 375. Like, okay, there's, I don't know, who are these people? And it just, it's up to you to catch up.
Yeah.
And, you know, I think the movie had a very similar mentality to that. It's like, well, you know, hold on, you know, catch up.
I think James Gunn, like, everyone's always like, oh, James Gunn's taking over. And I'm like, the dude knows his, like, projects, right? He never, like, just does things just because he's like, oh, you want me to direct this? He's like, I know Superman, you know, like, I like this character. He did introduce us to, you know, some characters people never heard of. Like, I can't, what's his name? The dude with the orbs.
Mr. Terrific or
Mr. Terrific. Like, if you didn't read that series, like, you wouldn't know who he was. And I did not know who that character was initially, so I had to, like, you know, go just look it up and read up on him a little bit just to be like, oh, this guy's cool. You know, like, who is this guy? Hawkgirl, everybody should know, and Green Lantern. If you don't know Green Lantern, what the hell are you even doing? You know, I obviously like the Green Lantern. But, like, I thought they did a great job. People are so pissed about Guy Gardner and his haircut and all that. I'm like, have you read a Guy Gardner comic book? Like, that haircut is perfect. Yeah. You know, as stupid as it looks. You know,
goddamn bowl cut.
Yeah, I was like, I guess we're going for it. You know, and that movie. I walked out of there thinking, man, that was I needed to feel good about something. You know, based on everything. So yeah. I do feel like so, you know, the comic book industry, I think I still read comics. I still read good comics. And I do feel like they're struggle busting a little bit. I don't know if it has anything to do with, like, economy. I think people are, like, wanting more digital stuff, and maybe they want, like, video games and card games still, which is still doing really well. But on the comic book side, like, I was talking to one of my a comic book store called Geeks Comics that I've been going to since I was like 15. Andrew knows this. They just shut their doors about a month and a half ago.
I remember you telling me that.
And it was sad, man, because I saw him go from he used to work for another comic book store, went off on his own. They told him he'd never survive. He built that store out. It became almost triple the size of it was when he started. It's been there for years. I used to take my daughter to it. So her, like, first couple comic book stops were at this store. And then, so, like, when he shut down, he was like, you know, there was some, like, I think it was Diamond got bought out, and then they got screwed up, you know, and the whole thing got messed up, right? So distribution became a big thing that screwed over comic book stores. And then people just weren't buying as much, you know, and I don't know if it's just because they can't spend the money because costs have gone up or whatever, but the stories in those comic books are still very good. Like, the writers, the artists, I mean, the artists are like, they're like if you haven't looked at anything by Jorge Jimenez, he's doing, like, Batman, and then I think it's
is he doing Absolute Batman or
no? That's have it right
I know
there.
I think.
Hang on.
Oh gosh, yeah, I'm trying to remember who, but yeah, that was one I started reading, and I've been liking it. My issue is always, like, even back when I was a more active reader, was I'm terrible at collecting pamphlets. And even back when they were like $2 a pop, like, that was still, I was like, I feel like I'm overpaying on this. now it's like, I think it's like $4 a pamphlet or something like that. I've always liked just preferring to get trade paperbacks for myself.
You know,
yeah, I buy trade.
I'm a big fan of the trade paperback, or, you know, the trade, you know, books too. Like, I just really, I don't know. There's just something. It's like the difference between waiting week to week and just, like, burning through an entire series. You know, I really just dig having the entire arc in one bound tome.
Yeah.
And that, I mean, I don't know, it just appeals to my.
I've got boxes of comics still but once I had kids, I stopped kind of collecting weekly. I still buy, like if I really like what I'm reading. So I'm one of those. I sign up for the digital apps just because it's safe space. But I still collect X-Men and I still collect Batman. Like World's Finest. I think it's Mark Brooks. I forget the name of the artist. He's so good. Like the art sells it. Let me see here. World's Finest.
I will say one of the drawbacks of like the trade paperbacks is sometimes if a series does not finish, the publisher does not bother pulling together a trade paperback.
Yeah.
Just like that's after like with Archie for me. It's like one trade paperback and then I think there's like 3 or 4 pamphlet issues after that, like single issues, but they never finished the story, so it never got collected into a second trade or anything like that.
So like, Absolute Batman's artist is Nick Dragata. I've never heard of him.
Oh, that's Batman. Right. So actually I do know him because he used to be, he's a SCAD alumni like me.
Oh, okay.
He's like maybe 4 or 5 years my senior, I want to say, but he was a Sonic artist way back when I started college.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he worked on like Sonic the Hedgehog and everything. And the only reason I know that is because I have a friend that is still a huge Sonic fan, and he was like laser focused on Nick to be like, how did you get into Sonic? Like, I want to work for Sonic too. You got to tell me.
The Sonic love is like it's very interesting to me when I meet people who are like really into Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah, he was super into it, and yeah, I've heard Nick. He was helpful, but I clearly like wasn't where he was gonna stay forever. Whatever, he's gonna evolve and change.
Steven, do you have a favorite superhero?
I'm probably Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't really get into comics until I was a teenager, and then Spider-Man, obviously, like there's that analogous kind of,
like your first superhero, man.
Like it just was one of those, like it caught me at the right time, and and yeah, it was
that was Hellboy for me. It caught me at the exact, because like I didn't really read like superhero comics until like late college, and even then that was more because like a lot of my classmates were reading it because we were all studying to be comic artists. So I was like, maybe I should read up some of these. Proceed to read like one of the worst comic book arcs imaginable. It's the what is it called? It's the one where Elongated Man's wife is killed. Do you know that one at all? It was written by it wasn't written by a comic book writer. It was written by like a book author, and it's like so heavy-handed and like really, really melodramatic to the point where it's like, ooh, this is like way too much.
Oh yeah, I'm looking at the image of it.
Yeah, that was like the very first one I read. I was like, well, this is terrible. I don't want to read this. And then I read, I think I read like Red Sun after that, and I was like, oh, this is like way better.
Yeah.
You know, when I was young, well, like, Red Sun is like a breath of fresh air compared to whatever that one book was. My God. But no, when I was younger though, like I got into comics because I started reading like Jurassic Park comics, which are,
I'm not even surprised to hear that.
No, you shouldn't be. They are weird because like there's a like 4-issue miniseries that's just the movie adapted to comics, but then Topps wanted to keep going with it, so they had all sorts of like crazy outlandish stories for all this. Like they honestly should adapt some of they should adapt some of that shit into the actual movies. It might actually be fairly interesting. It's like things like Dilophosaurs down in Mexico running with like drug cartels and shit, and you're like, what is this? What is going on?
They're the bosses.
Yeah, no,
I'm trying to remember, like my cousins when he went to college gave me a box of comic books, and I think I'm like you, Steven. Spider-Man was one of the first. It was Spider-Man and Superman in that box. Spider-Man, Superman, Batman. There was like a sprinkling of X-Men, which I'm pretty sure if I still had those comics, are probably worth a lot of money, but I don't know where they might be in the big boxes. I don't know, but the X-Men were like weird to me at first because I was just like, okay, every single one of these guys has an ability. I was like 5, and I was like, I can't keep up with this. Spider-Man's just Spider-Man. I only deal with him and a villain. Like, and then I remember this guy opened a comic book store. We lived in an area of Chicago called Belmont Cragen, and there's a giant park that's called Reese Park. And if you just cut through the park, he was at the far end of the park. So you just had to cut through the park, which was fun because I'm going to go to the park anyway. And then at the end, he had this old school, like, he was so chill. Like, you could go in there. You can actually just stand in there and read the comics if you wanted to. He knew you're going to buy it. Half the time, every single one of us in there was making a purchase. I still remember, like, it's like burned into my head. One of the weirdest days for me there was, like, I was in there and his wife was walking with 2 black eyes. And I was like, oh, my God. Like, and at this point, I'm like 7 or 8 years old. And I was like, what happened to this lady's face? And she said she went diving, and she came back. She came up too fast. I guess like the pressure was around her eyes, and she got 2 black eyes. And I remember my cousins were like, but
oh my god,
it was a true story. That's exactly what happened to her. But because the guy but everyone and everyone spread these rumors like this dude was not a nice person. Which he was a really nice guy, but he overstretched. I remember he tried to open. So there's a mall right across the street called Brickyard Mall or Bricktown Mall. And it was literally across the street. He was fine right where he was, but I think he thought I can double dip if I open up over there. And he opened up next to the KB Toy Store. If you guys remember KB Toys.
Oh man.
Which again, as a kid, you're just like, this is great. Now I'm at the mall and he's over here. As an adult, I was like, that was a horrible time.
No, one of the things I loved about KB Toys was they sold a lot of 1/6 scale accessories and stuff. And I remember buying the shit out of like so many different like guns and swords. Like basically just I had a mini armory for like reference taking. Yeah. And KB Toys is great for that because you could at the time you could spend like $20 to get like 8 or 10 different guns because it'd be like 2 blister packs of like a whole bunch of accessories.
That's really
kind of
cool.
thing. Yeah, no, it was great. It was like a perfect way to loop through that because I was having to need a lot of that kind of reference when I was doing comics and stuff.
I mean,
it's amazing.
It's really
good. I'm gonna kill Jen if she calls me grandpa again. You're throwing me off, Janet. Shut up. I just remember he had the comic book store there, and then all of a sudden both stores were gone because he just couldn't.
Yeah.
He couldn't, keep up with the business. But I remember going to that store when Spawn 1 first came out, and like you were saying, like most of our introductions weren't to number 1s. But I remember reading, McFarlane was doing a Spider-Man run, but I never had number 1. And I remember when he did Spawn. I still remember that day because Andrew knows the story about how I stayed at the comic book store too long. I was supposed to be home before the sun went down for dinner, and I had to cut through the park, and then all the gangbangers hang out in the park at night.
Oh, yeah, this story.
This dude saw me, and I thought, oh, man, these guys are going to jump me and steal my comics. And they literally just walked me out of the park. They were like, what are you doing in here? I'm like, I'm just trying to get home. They're like, you're not supposed to go to the park at night. And he walked me to the sidewalk, and he's like, take the long way home, And I was late for dinner. My dad was really mad. I never told him I cut through the park, but I bought Spawn number 1 in Shadowhawk. You remember Shadowhawk?
Yeah.
Yeah, I still have that comic. That cover is amazing. And I keep thinking I'm going to go through. I have like 5 or 6 long boxes, and part of me wants to like get rid of it to like, again, save space. But I feel like anyone who collects comics or cards or models or whatever it is you collect, giving away that is like giving away part of yourself. because why did I hang on to those since I was 12 years? I got my first comics from my cousins when I was 7. I got my own set of comics when I was like 10 or 12. I don't remember. And then like, why did you hang on to it for so many years if you're just going to dump them?
Yeah, I'm having the same dilemma. I only have 2 long boxes, and
Lucky.
but I was going through a box the other day because I am trying to get rid of stuff, and one of the things in the box was the very first comic I ever had, which was a issue of the New Mutants. Bill Sienkiewicz was the artist. It's
Oh my God, yeah.
Like, I can't get rid of this. Like, this is, that's a foundational kind of thing, right? Like,
yeah.
And, Sienkiewicz's work is like unlike anybody else at the time or since, essentially. Like, he's with such a unique voice, or is such a unique voice. And I'm like, no, I can't get rid of that. I got to keep that. And, I got rid of like, stuff that actually was applied to my real life.
Yeah.
But,
Right.
I'm like, no, that stays.
I've got like, I'm pretty sure if I took the time to go through that, I'd end up like you with maybe 2 boxes, and like the other 7 could go away, but it's that wanting to do it. I do have a lot of, now that I've actually am an adult with money, I do have a couple of graded comic books. Like I got, I have New Mutants' first appearance of Cable,
Right.
Liefeld, CG. Hang on a second, I gotta show this to you. It's awesome.
Well, so I'm curious then, like, because you said you didn't get into comics a whole lot until like high school or so. Is that right?
I would say probably middle school.
So, like, what would you say is like your earliest? Like, what was your earliest thing that made you realize, like, oh, art could be like a thing I could do, and like here's an example of someone doing it, and I love this so much, I want to make this like a career.
Honestly, I mean, I'm from Southeast Pennsylvania, and the Wyeth family looms large in the Southeast Pennsylvania, and NC Wyeth's work I was familiar with from a very young age, and the idea of getting to like illustrate, and paint pictures of stories and stuff was really an attractive idea to me. And that was probably like the biggest sort of thing that kind of got that mental ball rolling. And then we had a friend of the family who was an art teacher in high school, and he was exposed me to a lot of stuff that I and was a really excellent watercolorist. And so I kind of had enough there, like, oh, I could do something with this somehow.
Right.
And then, by the time I started really getting into comics and stuff, and I realized like that's a venue too, but it like that was less attractive to me, and I'm glad it was.
It's grueling. It's so grueling.
Exactly why. Because I, it's really cool when you're a kid. It seems like an amazing thing. But then when you find out about what the actual industry entails, and the amount of work, and like how, time sensitive, and that pressure, and the rates, and it's a lot to wrap your head around. And I'm like, I'm not that guy. I'm definitely not that guy.
I started in comics, and then eventually, like a lot of my freelance nowadays is like advertising. And for a long time, I never did advertising because I was like, oh God, like the deadlines are going to be crazy stuff. And it's like, oh no, like this is so much more relaxing than comic work. Like I'm not at all like pressured compared.
Yeah.
I mean, me, I try to do, my friend asked me to do an 8-page comic for him. I did 1 page, and I was like, no, thank you. Like, I'm never doing this again, ever.
My friends that are still doing comics are literally doing comics because they pretty much are only doing it for themselves. Like they're doing like their own published books and stuff. Like it's their stories they want to tell. Like I have one friend that he still is in doing stuff for like DC and Marvel here and there, but he used to be full time, and then he, like everyone else with comics, like flamed out because he was like, it's way too much. Like I got to just step back. So he ended up taking like an art director job, and then still do like comics on the back end. But now it's like you no longer have that pressure pushing down like that you would get when like comics is like your full-time job, and it's like you have to hit the deadlines and churn out like that constant gristle.
Right. So I'm going to show this real quick, and then I figured out how to share a screen here so I can show off some of Steven's artwork.
Okay.
If he's cool with that.
Yeah.
But here's the New Mutants I was telling you about. It's a 6.5, but signed. Like old school. Look at the back of this ad.
Oh nice. Man, digital calculator font.
Yeah, and then I have a lot of CGC things, but one of my favorite comic book characters, I don't know why I've always liked the Rocketeer.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
For me. And then the last, I've got a lot, but I'm not going to show the rest of these. But since we talked about McFarlane,
yeah,
number one.
I got one of them too.
Yeah, I was just like, when I found it, I was like, I'm buying that, But the Liefeld was like I've been looking for that comic for I do have, that's a third printing, I think. I do have a first printing, not graded, but or a first or second. I got it off of a friend of ours, Jason Smith. He was selling it, I guess, and I was like, I'll take it, because it's impossible to find. Here, I'm gonna see if I can do this. Add to stage. Oh, cool! That actually works.
Wow, that was easy.
Right? I was like, I just literally opened up his website. I figured out how to add it on this app, and bam, there it is. Now we can show off some of your work. I think I can even do this. No.
Okay.
This. There we go. Now we're all gone. But so here's some of Steven's work. Can I just hit down on this?
Yeah, you can click on any of the things below and it'll still pop up and they'll still be down there.
Oh, I see. Okay, I got you. It just brings it up. This I've seen.
Oh, that's a cool one.
Nice.
Yeah. And I
really need to update my website.
I mean, your website's clean, bro.
It said virtually every artist ever. Like, I feel like they're kind of languishing a bit behind.
I mean, you need time.
Yeah.
That's the problem, right? Ooh, Black Lotus. I've seen that one. This one's cool. This one's awesome too.
Oh yeah, I really do like that one.
This is scary. Those guys are fucked. I don't think I've seen this one.
Yeah, that's
cool.
Thanks. Yeah, that was a fun piece. Fast piece too.
Oh yeah,
I mean, gotta love the fast pieces.
I wish I could be fast. I'm so like in my own head about everything.
Yeah,
this one we all know is super popular.
Sorry,
it's all right, dude. Look at that stone, bro.
No, I'm very proud of that one. That's definitely it's.
I don't think I've seen this one.
That's really old.
Okay.
Yeah, that's like probably 2006.
That's cool. Oh, 2006. Wow. Okay.
The Dragon Whelp. Yeah, it's old.
This one, yeah, I don't think I've seen that one either.
Not a popular card.
Yeah, some of the artists were telling, "Ooh, this is awesome." Where was this one? I need a construct reference. This is great. I like this. This fucking skull. Oh. Scary.
Oh, I like that. That's so cool.
It's cool. And most of this is I don't think is all of this work from Wizards or
The Birds on Fire isn't.
Yeah, the Birds on Fire aren't. Yeah.
I think everything else you've shown is for the most part. But yeah, that's not.
Yeah. I like the movement on this one.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, that's one that has been stolen more times than I care to count.
Stolen, like
just
over?
No, people use it. Will put it in their YouTube videos or in their about pirates and stuff like that. You know, like I don't really take offense. It's, you know, I don't own the copyright anyway. But
this is cool.
Thanks.
Yeah, I mean, I guess as long as they're not selling it, I don't know where that line is.
Yeah, the company that I did that piece for too, like they had the only time I've ever seen this clause in a contract, but I had the opportunity to buy the copyright back for the basically by reimbursing them for the fee for the illustration.
Oh, I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and I really wish that I had done it before they had gone out of business, because I could have made a lot of money on that piece after the fact. But good luck finding out who currently owns the copyright to that image now.
You talking about the pirate?
Yeah. But such life.
It's someone who's like, it's mine forever.
Yeah.
This one's interesting.
Nice. Yeah, I did that for a gallery show a few years back. More than a few years back. But yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, I really need to update my website. Holy smokes.
I'm lighting a fire under you probably.
I was going to try and do it over the Christmas break, but we'll see.
We've heard that before.
Yeah.
Oh, I like this one.
Yeah, that's a really cool one.
It was for a playmat for an event in Vancouver. Yeah, I chose it because the birds were basically like one year the bird of the year in Vancouver was like the chickadee, and then the next year it was like the peregrine falcon. So it's like, okay, well, we'll work both.
Like, I'll take the falcon.
Them both. I mean, the chickadee's in there. He's just really tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha. This is cool.
Yeah, one of my book covers.
Okay. So you did get book covers. Good job.
Yeah, I did eventually, but you know, I haven't had one in a long time, and that's life. You know, I mean,
I've tried at this point. I've had ADs reach out, and I've done, like, I forgot what they call it, where you submit sketch work and try to show them the covers, and like there's a couple of people in the industry who have tried to give me book covers, and I've tried at this point at least 3 times, I'd say, and each time they're like, they like the work. It's just book covers are a finicky beast, right? Where it's like, is this for the Dark Tower?
It's Dark Tower fan art, yeah. Yeah.
I need to show our screens again so I can show my tattoo of Dark Tower.
Yeah, that's one of the rare times I've done like fan art.
That's awesome. Well, I mean, it's awesome because I really love the Dark Tower is like my mantra. This is great. I knew it without even reading the title, so good job. Yeah. That's great. What I was saying is, like, so they tried to give me book covers a couple times, and okay, that's the end of that. Yeah. And you know, how do I get us back on track here? Yes, I did it. Just so everyone knows, I'm learning StreamYard on the fly. So
we're doing good. We're doing good.
We're doing pretty good. Minus the wrong link going out, we've done okay. So and then I'll figure out how to get rid of their little logo next time. I think it's because we're still in the free version, but
probably.
But yeah, so like I've had the last round, there was a popular series that they wanted me to work on. I did 3 covers. The AD said that the people who saw it really liked it, but my style is so specific. You have to be able to like move that book right away, and it's too risky. Which I was like, I get it. I'm not pissed about it. I got paid to do sketches. I made an attempt. Didn't work out. It was fun to like learn to work with a book. So when you work with every art director is different, and every category of that is different. Like so I'm used to dealing with magic art directors who kind of be like, do this, do that, do this, you're good. But the book publishing ones are very specific, and like there's a lot of back and forth where I where you could try. I try to do my own thing. Like, don't do that. Like just do what I asked you to do. And I've also done work with art directors for board games, and board games I may not do so much anymore. Andrew knows those. I'm not going to get into it, but I had a miserable experience with that. But it's just sometimes you get bad art directors, and that board game was bad. I mean, it's good in the end.
Generally, just someone that took on the job because no one else wanted to. At least with like board game stuff, I feel
with board games, the person was not really an art director. They just were like, yeah, this is the role they put me in, and just fell apart. So I'm a little more pickier these days on what I do, but it's always, I'm thankful that I have my own series that I can lean on, and people like it. So I am happy that we were able to show your artwork. I was worried that I wouldn't be able to show that.
Yeah, I know, that was really cool.
So we're about an hour. We're an hour in. We're about 10 minutes over. Usually at the end of the show, we do a thing where we kind of show off something cool that we want to talk about, whether it's like a game or a book or a band or something. And we talk about it for a second. I don't know if you have anything, Steven. If you don't, it's no big deal. I'm sure Andrew has something, I hope.
Do me last.
I'm
said do me last.
Do you last?
I'm actually intensely curious to know what the hell that figure is that's to the left of you.
This?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, I can show me then do me first. This is it is a company called Sticky Bones, I think it's called.
Oh, that's a sticky bone. Okay.
Yeah, and in terms of articulation and everything, like I have a lot of little plastic models and stuff to pose and that kind of thing. But in terms of frailty, this thing is really actually fantastic. Like it's really hardy, really well articulated. And then they've got magnets in the hands and the feet so that like you could actually have it wall crawl and that kind of stuff.
Oh,
cool. Kind of thing. And then they come with these like mirror metal plates so you can,
Oh, nice.
And then on top of that, you get the reflection if they're like in water or whatever, or,
Right.
Oh, yeah.
It's all, built in. And then also like, a really excellent arm to do, like jumping poses and flying poses and stuff that plug into the butt. But
is it a particular scale? Like, is it like 112 or like, like action figure size or anything like that?
I am 100% sure it is, but I have no idea what that is. Yeah, but generally, like, I've got a few of them because I just figured it would be really good to, because they will, they have like these 3-fingered articulated hands, but then they've got like solid hands that you can just plug in that aren't articulated with 5 fingers,
Yeah.
And they've just started putting out props and stuff like that too for them to hold.
Okay.
And
they always looked interesting to me. I've always wondered how well they would be for reference and stuff. Because like I remember back in college, like I went to like one of my professor's studio, and like in his kitchen he had a bunch of, do you remember those like Artist Buck models at all? Like the 12-inch tall ones, whatever.
Like the wooden ones?
Not the wooden ones. It was the plastic gray ones. I don't think I have them anymore.
I've got the smaller version of those.
Which they're okay. The articulation's like so when it comes to like the torso and stuff. But I do remember like I walked in and this guy, like he did a lot of stuff for like museums and murals and everything like that or whatever. But he had like 6 or 7 of those like posed in like a battle kind of thing. And they all have like swords and stuff. And it's like, you know what? I'm always like chasing that to be like, I would love to find a reference figure that is
Have you
nice
seen
and
the ones
robust and
with
like pretty articulated.
the skin? It looks almost like
I
like a Terminator.
Yeah, I have, but those are also like it's the same thing with like the artist buck models. It's like they're 12 inches tall, so
Yeah, they're
it
big.
gets weird when you like what Steven said, like it'd be cool to have like multiples of them because then you can stage scenes and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah. No, I've always wondered about those, like how good they are as like an artist reference.
As far as I'm concerned, they've been really great. The heads, and the only thing that I wish they would do is have like female figures as well as the male. But the in terms of just figuring out basic lighting and the one thing that I've always had an issue with a lot of the those articulated models and stuff is especially like bent legs and stuff. Like people can bend their legs a lot further than those models generally can do, and this actually can achieve pretty much any pose an actual person can do. Unfortunately, a lot of them that they can't do too, but it's a really good gut check and backup. And if nothing else, it's like, okay, well, I know that the character needs to be doing this. What's a good way to show it? And so you impose it, and you find the right point of view after the fact, which is kind of nice. And
I've been using Daz for some of the. This seems like obviously quicker. Andrew's the last couple characters I did has helped me pose with my Daz characters. I'll like pose them and I'll be like, I'm having trouble with these joints.
The frustrating thing with like 3D, like digital 3D is it's hard to get the gesture down on it. Right. Like we've done it with like Daz, where it's like you're posing and it's like it's not quite there. You
never
100%.
Yeah. Like whenever I showed it in, so like I mentor under Scott Fisher, right? So whenever I've shown the Daz model for the pieces and the turnarounds in class, Scott will always make it a point to say, this is a good start, but do not use this as your final like reference because muscle structure is off. A lot of the anatomy is not 100% where it should be. It's just
it's close enough to real life that like your brain tricks you to be like, oh, that's good enough. When like you said, like there's still a lot you got to do.
Oh, I still have to like go sketch. So Scott's thing is to say is drawing is redrawing. He'll make you sketch. And I've got the first time he had me do it, I got into it with him where I'm just like, why does it matter? Because at the end I'm just dropping a bunch of shapes on top of this, and it doesn't matter if my sketch is good or bad underneath as long as the proportions and the angles are right. And he was like, trust me on this one, and he's right because with the shapes. Because if the shapes read and the sketch reads, everything else just works with it, But I had to like learn it the hard way, like the Centaur piece I've done. Dude, I drew that horse over like 19, 20 times. And at the end, I was like, I never want to draw a horse again in my life because it was so fucking hard. But I'm also lucky enough to have people who actually draw horses all day. So I was able to reach out to them being like, tell me what I did wrong here. I've got these reference shots, but they're not working because I don't own a horse, and then the upper torso, I just shot photos of my wife, but like, again, I sketched that, the sketch had to read before Scott was like, now you can start building it up, but those are lessons you learn. Reference, guys. Anyone who's like, I didn't use reference, I'm like, please use reference.
Like, I couldn't tell.
Yeah, there was this one guy. It was a group we were all in once. This guy kept posting photos and saying, 1 hour, no reference, and you were just like, yeah, we got it, But it's like like go shoot. One of the lessons I learned a long time ago when I was learning world building from Sean Murray was I would go take photos of everything. I take photos of the randomest things I see. Yeah. Because the way my brain works is I see things in like shapes when I want to make like. I have a piece called Homeworld, and there's a ship kind of going around the corner. It's built up from hard drive parts, solo cups, like it's kit bashed to the max. Yeah. And then I went in there and put my shapes and stuff on top of it, right? But like I go for walks where like I I will take photos. My wife calls us all the time. I love dead trees. So like I'm always like taking photos of dead trees. But I love trees, so I take tons of photos of trees. You've seen some of my pieces of trees, but I also take photos of like strange looking pipes or like weird looking like different like things I see as I walk around the city. For example, I learned street photography for this purpose because you never know when you can use that. Like in Scott's class, he shows you like, dude, he's got this piece of this lady with like this like ruffled like sleeve, and it's cabbage. He took a photo of cabbage and like photo bashed it in and then painted it. But it's like it started out as cat. That's my point is references all around you if you take the time to look for it. Yeah. And you should use reference in your art. If you don't, you're doing it wrong. You're actually making it harder on yourself. That being said, Andrew, do you have something to show off?
I do. I actually have two things because like
cool.
This was my birthday was like this past weekend and stuff. So I got this recently. It's a new palette for like my gouache paints and stuff. I haven't like fully loaded it yet because I've just been trying it out with the
it's like a travel palette?
It's a travel palette. Like, so I have a bunch of like the old, like the normal regular watercolor tins, you know, where they have like the exposed half pans and all that.
Yep.
Those are fine for watercolor. Gouache, it tends to not, dried out gouache like tends to not really work out in the same way as like watercolor, you know,
right?
Like when you're, it really needs to be like gooey and kind of fresh and everything, whatever. So this is these paints I put in about like 3 or 4 days ago. They're still fresh. Kind of probably hard to see, but the top on it has this layer of silicone on the inside.
Ooh.
And so it lays down, and then when you clamp it all shut, it creates an air. Oh, but I don't have it correct on here.
Can that be your palette too then, or?
So actually I have a watercolor palette which is not in here right now, but I have this like larger watercolor tin, and I just don't have the half pans in it. It's just the tin itself, so I use that as my mixing palette for on the go and stuff. So yeah, because like I've wanted to do like more plein air sketching and stuff, and like just generally painting outside of the studio and all that. So this is what I've been trying to look for, and I've seen a few people like Judd Mercer and a few other gouache artists like gravitate to this to be like, this is what you got to have for like gouache, just to keep it fresh and everything and be able to like work on it easily and stuff. So yeah, I've been liking it.
Nice.
It's nice.
Just every once in a while. To you, by the way.
Oh, thank you.
Not nearly as old as us, Janet.
I'm getting there.
We're like agents.
No, this has been working out so far. You just occasionally spritz it down with water, like a little spray thing or whatever, and you're good to go.
What's the second thing you got?
So the second thing is my wife got me this book that's been out of print for maybe like almost 20 years now.
And I'm jealous of that book, man.
Yeah, actually, wait, is this coming up like mirrored or?
No, it's coming up right.
Okay, because it's coming up mirrored on my end, so I wasn't sure. Yeah, no, this is a hell of a book, and I saw it back when I was in college, but I couldn't buy it. I couldn't afford it in college. And copies nowadays go for like $300 or whatever. My wife was able to find actually like a more affordable copy of it.
Sure.
Which was crazy, but yeah, no, just wonderful stuff. This like shots of the sand crawler, like, oh, that's how big that sand crawler was. It's like about the size of a small dog, stuff like that. Like I was showing Alan a few days ago about it, like the Moss Espa scene in episode 1, you know, the pod racing scene or whatever.
Yeah,
let me see if I can find the photo itself.
The cute.
When you said that in the group, I was like, yeah, I remember them talking about this, because I was like, no way.
Yeah, like everyone in the crowd in that is made up of little colored Q-tips.
Yeah.
And stuff, and it's like, you know, you don't notice it at all. But
and then like, didn't they do something with like the waterfalls or like salt?
Yeah. So the waterfall, the waterfall is like really fine table salt, and then they filled it on black velvet, and they just comped that into the scene. Yeah, no, it's actually it's really surprising how many physical models there are in episode 1. Yeah, here this the Mos Espa scene with all the Q-tips, and they had a fan or like a hairdryer underneath, and they would just they'd have someone standing underneath that underneath that model and just like wave the hairdryer around, and that would like move the Q-tips up and down a little, just to make it look like,
if there was ever a blooper like where one of the Q-tips like flew out.
Oh, I'm sure something like that.
That'd be awesome. Like, nope. Well, I don't have any art. Well, I guess it's in my wheelhouse, but it's not like artistic, like art stuff. But it's a book. In the group that Jan and I are in, actually, they were talking about this a couple of weeks back, and I finally picked it up. But it's an RPG. It's called Mythic Bastion Lands. And I'll just it's basically like you're like knights, like like Arthurian knights, I guess.
Sorry, this is an RPG?
It's an RPG, yep.
Okay.
And I was trying to find the small write-up for it so I can just tell you. Yeah, where is it? But so basically it says, in Mythic Bastion Lands, you are a company of knights sent to explore the realm and seek out its myths, which could be anything from a monster or strange phenomena to an outright invasion. As you uncover these myths, you gain glory, which is like leveling up, which improves your reputation in the realm. And then I think it's based on the same rule set as Into the Odd. But it's cool because there's like 50 knights in here or something you can pick. And the artwork's fucking amazing. So like, here's the first knight you can pick from. It's called the True Knight. And I don't know if that's got glare or not. The book itself is amazing. The book itself is cool just for the artwork, but then there's like the lands, and then so here's another knight. So you pick one of these knights, and they all have their own like attributes and stuff, right? And then that's who you are, And I was watching them play this. I think they were playing at Origins, I believe, and I briefly skimmed it, and then after like that, I came home and it's not a cheap book, by the way. It's about $60, but you get everything you need in this one book. So, Gen Con. Yep, there you go. And it's about $65. But I've been trying to purposely get into other RPGs other than D&D, because D&D is always going to be there when I want to play it again, But there's so many new rule sets, so it's just like try something different, try something not as D&D can be a little complex, and then so when you try to get your friends to play it again, they don't want to, So I've talked about Pirate Borg before on the show, so Pirate Borg's another one. But if you like playing, you could be a pirate. I mean, what more do I have to say? So, but yeah, Mythic Bastion Lands, it's totally worth it, especially for me, because when I was a kid, I loved knights and lore. Like I love Lord of the Rings. I used to actually carry around like a statue of a knight with me everywhere I went. I don't know what happened to it to this day. It just got lost somewhere in the move. We moved out of an apartment in Chicago into a house in Chicago, and somewhere in that move, things got lost. So probably stolen. But yeah, that's it. That's all I got. So, Steven, why don't you tell us where people can find you if you want to talk about any socials or sales?
I mean, I'm on Instagram. I'm on Facebook. Yeah, I don't know.
That's about as enthusiastic as we get, guys.
I'm trying to get out to more shows in the coming, year. And
do you do any of the SCGs ever, or do you just kind of?
I'm gonna try SCGs this year, hopefully. Like I've applied. We'll find out if I get any.
I applied for Atlanta and Milwaukee. I did Houston. It wasn't that great. I think when I have more cards out, it'll be better for me. Yeah. I ducked out of Vegas, so I'm just gonna go to PAX U, mainly because I didn't want to roll the dice twice. I don't think my mental state could handle 2 losses in a row. So
So I just so I'm trying to, I'm trying to be out there, and my socials are just my name, and website's just myname.com. So I'm, pretty straightforward. I just wish my name was like, I don't know, easier. Damn you, mom and dad. But
how much easier do you want your name to be?
Well, I mean, Belledin, it doesn't exactly, it's not the most, common of
I don't
names.
think. Sure, I don't think I know any other Belledins though. So
yeah, there aren't.
This is true.
Yeah.
And then Andrew, where can people find you?
Almost like the same thing as Steven, like everything, social media, website, it's all A-Sides art. Same with like the Patreon as well. There's trying to be better about it. I have a free tier on that if you prefer just to have an easy way to get what I usually post on social media and stuff. If you don't want to like hunt down any of that shit, you can just be on a free tier on Patreon and you get basically what I share on Instagram and all that.
You should do that.
I'm trying to be more consistent about it.
I dumped my Patreon. Well, I didn't dump it; it's still there. But I didn't like their mobile app, and I hated trying to work their program. I guess it's better now.
Yeah, it's all right. It has now, thankfully, after I sent them like 5 or 6 nasty emails about it, they finally have categories to organize stuff.
Okay.
Because it used to be like back in the day, like you had to organize stuff by hashtags, which was awful experience. Now it's like, because even it was like they couldn't show you what the hashtag was. You had to guess like, okay, what did I put in last time as a hashtag?
I had to save everything in a Google Doc, and then I would write whatever I was posting on Patreon, I would write in a Google Doc and then copy paste it into Patreon.
Yeah, no, thankfully now it is all, they have proper categories now, so it's real easy. I write out whatever post and then tick it into the thing and then set it to whatever the tier access is and stuff.
Cool. Well, all my stuff's under AllenPanakal art, except TikTok, as we all know.
But is that even worth it anymore?
It's probably not. There's some dude just squatting on it. He still hasn't let it go. So the real AllenPanakal is me on TikTok. It's just videos of my boot setups. If anyone has seen my boot setups, you might learn something from it. Otherwise, ancientones.net is all the Ancient One stuff. And then hopefully by like Steven said, I'm going to try to update my website over the winter. And most of the new magic stuff should be showing up on there, hopefully. Otherwise, thanks, Steven, for being on the show. Hope we didn't take up too much of your time.
Oh, no.
Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for having me.
It'll be fun. And then, I don't know who our next guest is because I have 3 different people who want to be on. It's just a matter of figuring it out, and I'll hopefully get the link right next time. So,
rock, paper.
What's that?
Said rock, paper, scissors. Rock, paper, scissors.
You got to find those guys. Yeah, like those guys would have been great on the show right now. But yeah, cool. And thanks everyone who's watching. Janet, I'll see you in 2 days. Otherwise, catch you guys in the next one. I'm gonna take us offline.